Today we're going to have a quick look at Air Canada's newest member to its family, the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Now the 787 is slated to eventually replace all their Boeing 767s in the near future. The reason why? Well, it can carry more passengers for less money. In fact, it costs 20% less to operate this plane than the 767 right now. Since I haven't flown on this bird yet, I figured the best way to find out more about it is to ask the people that have spent the most time on it.
You really have to go back to the way Boeing builds this aircraft. Well, this is an all-composite airplane versus the traditional jetliners and aluminum airplane. So when Boeing builds with composite, which is man-made material, the composite materials are far lighter, far stronger, and allows Boeing to shape the airplane in the most aerodynamically ideal situation. So what they've effectively done is made this airplane and they've made it to fly high, they've made it to fly fast. So this aircraft is efficiently flying at Mach 855, 40,000 feet, generally wherever it goes, where a more traditional aircraft would be Mach 82, 32,000 to 33,000 feet. So, I mean, you get the fuel savings, it's lighter, but because it's a stronger material than aluminum, and what it allows you to do is pressurize the cabin more, which when we're flying at 40,000 feet, we're going to have a cabin altitude of 6,000 feet, where most other aircraft wouldn't be at 40,000 feet in the first place, and they'd have a cabin altitude of 8,000 feet. So what this allows the airline to do is you get a lower cabin altitude, you're flying at a higher altitude, which means you have a smoother ride. It's also got a flight control system on that augments the turbulence. So it has active dampening as it's flying along. The flight controls are actively dampening the turbulence. So between the altitude and the flight control system, you're getting a smoother ride. You also have we talked about the cabin pressure is down at 6,000 feet. The humidity level on the aircraft, because it's not using bleed air off the engines, it can get a humidity level of 40% relative humidity, which is equivalent to sitting in your home here in Vancouver. So when you arrive at the destination, whether it be 3 hours or 13 hours, you're going to feel a whole lot better coming off this airplane than any other airplane out there. But the biggest comment I get off the passengers, it's how quiet the airplane is. This is where Boeing spent all the energy. Everything they wanted was a quiet airplane, both outside the airplane for the residents around airports and inside for the customer. So the composite material absorbs a lot more. They've done things like the chevrons at the back of the engines are designed to dissipate the sound. The way the engine's designed, the way the wing's designed, it's all designed to have a very quiet airplane. And they've done a great job of it. So with reduced noise, I'll take off and 1 week I'll fly a 777 from Toronto to Tokyo. The following week I'll fly a 787. When I get to destination on the 87, I feel a lot better. And this aircraft was designed for the passenger. It was designed for passenger in row 22 to make the experience better, and that's what it's done, and that's what our passengers are telling us.
So what's it like flying this high-tech marvel?
I was lucky enough, I still fly both, and I'll hop from one airplane to the other airplane. We use the identical same procedures between the two airplanes. It's a different presentation, but all the information's there. The biggest change in the flight deck is Boeing was the first manufacturer of large airplanes to put a mandatory dual HUD system in the flight deck. So both pilots have a HUD or heads-up display. So where traditionally a pilot would fly looking out the window, then looking down at his flight instruments and comparing those all the time, this airplane, it gives you all the information you want while looking out the window. So it allows the pilot to better manage the energy state of the airplane. So that's probably, from a pilot's point of view, the biggest difference between the 777 and the 787.
I was one of the first coaches to fly the inaugural flight out of Everett to Toronto. So since the end of May, I've been working specifically on the 787.
Okay, let's go inside. 3 cabins inside the Air Canada 787. First one we're going to start with is the economy. 210 seats. Configuration is 3, 3, and 3. First thing you'll notice is a brand new in-flight entertainment system. This one in economy consists of a 9-inch touchscreen with a USB outlet and a host of new things you can do with this. You can text other passengers, you can order food, You can even do your duty-free shopping on the screen, as well as the standard movies, TV, and even games. This is a nice addition. The seat pitch is 31 inches, which is not much different than the 767, except this one works a little differently.
There's a little bit of a different function of these seats. A normal seat reclines back this way. On the 787, we actually recline back. Also, the bottom portion reclines forward. So you kind of slide underneath the seat in front of you. So you actually have a lot more room. It's a lot more comfortable for the economy passenger.
Since this aircraft uses composite materials that are stronger than conventional materials, they could even make the windows bigger on this plane.
30% larger windows. When you're sitting anywhere on the aircraft, every passenger on board can actually see outside. If you're sitting in the middle section in the economy, you can still see outside, full view. We have 5 dimming options from 1 to 5 that you can choose to, so there's no more window shade. Even when you have it at the darkest setting, you still have a view of outside. It takes away the bright light, but you can still see.
Next class is Air Canada's Premium Economy, featuring 21 seats with a 2-3-2 configuration. So what do you get in Premium Economy? Well, first off, you get a wider seat, you get more recline. Instead of a 9-inch, you get an 11-inch screen with a tethered remote keyboard, which makes texting and playing games even easier. I'm actually quite impressed with this Premium Economy product on this plane, and think it's probably on par, if not better, than the standard domestic business class seat you would get on an A319 to 320. Onward to the front, to the International Business Class. Air Canada calls these 20-seat lie-flat executive pods. They fully recline into a bed. I did notice on the 2 that I did try out, they didn't go completely flat. The headrest portion kind of stuck up a little bit. That might be due to the thickness of the foam. I don't know. It didn't really bother me that much because it's not like you were sleeping on an angle like you do with Lufthansa's business class seats.
So can control the firmness versus softness of the mattress that you're laying on. We have the massage function in the headrest and the lower back area. You have the largest TV screen in North America is in our business class. There's a lot more movie options, game options. Our layout's a little bit different. You kind of feel like you're in your own little private area. You have your working desk area. A lot more amenities are offered on this aircraft for the business class.
A few other notables on this plane. There's a hidden bassinet at the very front. That's a really cool feature. Every business class seat has this kind of a little bin or a tub. I guess it's handy for your socks or what have you. In the business class section, they've also eliminated the middle bins. For overhead bin space, you only have the 2 sides. Now, mind you, they are much bigger than the standard bins. Each bin will fit 4 roller cases straight in, and they actually have 2 handles. You can either pull from the bottom or pull from the top, depending on how tall you are, which is a really nice feature. I really can't wait to try this plane out in any cabin. If this is any sign of the future of Air Canada, I think this is going to keep them at the top for North American Airlines.
The biggest thing as a passenger, what I noticed is I went back over to the wing section, and you look up at this wing and how much it's bending in the composite and how beautiful it is. It rises 12 to 15 feet. It's a very nice looking wing.
You're not as fatigued. Definitely not as fatigued. Again, that comes down to the higher humidity, the lower cabin altitude. You notice it in your legs, definitely. You notice it in your skin, your hair. You're not as tired. Yeah.